dangerous. Get dangerous. Shameless. Face it. Shameless. Get dangerous. Shameless. 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 Like get dangerous. Get dangerous. Get dangerous. Get dangerous. Get dangerous. Shameless. Face it. Shameless. Get dangerous. That's my. Get dangerous. Get dangerous. Get dangerous. Get dangerous. Get dangerous. Shameless. Face it. Shameless. Get dangerous. Shameless. 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 Get dangerous. Get dangerous. Get dangerous.
Look at me. Look at me. Look at me ballin'.
All right, good morning. Good morning. All right, so what do we got here today? So yesterday we did not get that follow through that we were hoping for. Overnight session though has began to get bullish. So currently we're back above the weekly open. We've got major GEX at 30,000, it's our call resistance area. So we're anticipating a move back to 30,000. We'll see if we can get that move. However, this is our major positive level. So what ends up happening once we get here, we probably are going to see price, we'll probably start seeing some selling come into the level unless we really aggressively break through and accept above. And at that point, we'll reassess. But the current moment, price obviously has been in this uptrend, hasn't been the cleanest uptrend. But nonetheless, this is Thursday. So if we just look at the current week structure, we have the low of the week already. Looks like it's set down here at 530s, 27,536. And then our current high of the week is 30,001. And so we're currently in this rotation as we speak. So we've got this move up, this little pullback, and now we're beginning to compress here, have an outside bar. So we'll be looking to see if we get some type of move through these highs right here. So these guys here What's that price level? 921s. That's what we're going to be looking at as a magnet for price. So we'll see if we get through that level today. But the folks that are on DMIP, we're running a big major update. So we aren't touching or updating the current daily outlook until this is done. So hopefully by tomorrow, we'll have the full intelligence layer integrated for the daily outlook, market intelligence, everything should be up and running. So just kind of stand by on that. But all the levels are updated. So if you're using the GEX cloud indicator, all those levels are updated real time. So you should have access to the newest gamma levels. But let's continue to observe price here as we begin to approach this magnet at 29,928. Overall structure on the 30-minute is bullish. Every time frame is bullish. Daily is bullish. So it's just a matter of finding the right opportunity, being selective with our entries. Now they are already pumping right now. So this last candle from 9 a.m. to 9:30 is already an expansion candle. We've already moved what looks like, let's see here, about 0.1% from its open. So about 150 ticks so far. ATR in the 30-minute is pretty compressed. It's only 170 ticks, even with the news release that we did have. And 1 minute ATR is 36 ticks. So coming into the session, price is pretty compressed, and we did see that when we kind of expected that here today. But let's see what happens here as the market opens up and volatility starts to run. So I say the 30-minute was 171. 900. So we'll be watching here 900s to see if they're going to be able to hold this level as support. This is our prior day POC as well. Let's get rid of this level here. Actually, no, we can keep that level there. Good look. Opening price was 807. Right. All right, guys, got 2 minutes here till the open. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So one thing worth noting from our conversation yesterday is hourly. That range, we basically, yesterday, we've been trading in this range. So we've got above the range yesterday. They tried to get back in, held it, and now we're holding and accepting outside the range. So we were not able to accept back inside yesterday. So we came into it again and immediately rejected. And then we can just see how that weekly open has been holding up this entire time. So obviously it's been pretty messy. Look at all the wicks. They've been trying to drive price back under, but obviously they failed. You know, so seeing that type of price action on the hourly, we know that 851 weekly open is being defended by the buyers. All right, here we go. Market opens. Let's see how they're going to do it this time. I'm going to get a long signal here. Let's see if we can catch a little pop. I did this yesterday and got stopped out for like 300 ticks. Won't make that mistake again. Won't make that mistake again. Watching 75s. Looking for a pop here. There we go. Need more than that. Come on, boys. Need a little bit more than that. Gonna get back above 900s. Got positive gamma right below at 877s. Will they hold that as support? Looks like they're gonna try to break it here. One more pop, one more pop. Get back above positive gamma here, 75s. So we can bust through 75 here. Do we get back above the weekly, the 30-minute open here? At what price? 910s. Little watch out right there. See if we get that move now to 927s, 25s, and then also 30,000s. Let's see if we can hold that open print. Can we hold the open print? Rejected at the open print so far. So at 900 levels acting as resistance, but let's see if they can just reclaim this real quick. So we gotta watch out, watch out. So 900s, 908s is resistance, but let's see if we can clear it out now. There's 80 ticks. Can we get a little bit more? There's 100 ticks. There's the big buyer that just came in. 170, yes, very good. Nice. 173 ticks. Let's see if we get to 950s. A little bit more. We are in positive gamma, so just need to be cautious here that they could sell into this move, but they just cleared out the book on Bookmap, so they created somewhat of a vacuum, so maybe we'll see some higher prices. I took a partial there at 200 ticks, and we will start trailing here. $250 ticks. Let's see if we can get to our call wall. Taking another contract off. Let's let it ride. Attach it to our VBR band. We're up 320 ticks. Could have used a hotkey for that. There's our 30,000 call wall. Will we reject like yesterday or trade right through it? We've got major positive up at 30,007s. So we got long, sat through that nasty pullback, but we already knew the level. The level was 75. 875s was kind of like where I expected him to go, but I didn't want to miss it, so I took an earlier entry, smaller size, and then added more contracts on the little failure. And now we're holding almost 100 points of profit here on this trade. Let's see, we just cleared call resistance. Can we take out last week's high? Last week's high is at 73s. Can we get there? Major positive acting as a magnet. A lot of buying coming in. If you have our big trades indicator, you get to see all the aggressive buying happening. All this move higher. We're stalling here at call resistance. I'm going to probably try to like snap back a little bit. Oh, no, they're still buying. Taking out every offer. Look at that. Aggressive. Aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. There's 470 ticks of profit on this trade. $500 ticks of profit on this trade, guys. We're not touching it. We're just attaching it to the auto trail and just let it do its thing. Let it do its thing. All right, we're gonna get tagged out right here. All right, we're out. Perfect trade. That was a great trade. All right, so those are the entries. These are the exits. So got in over here. We should have added more on this flip right there on that green dot. Once that dot happened, should have added some more. But that was the entries, and that was the exit. And sure, it can keep going higher, but it's all good. Just wanted to take my trail. So I took a partial at like 200 ticks and took the rest, and then the auto trail stopped. So entries around 29,891, exit around 30,021. It's pretty much hit my nut for the session. That was all I was trying to accomplish for the session. Got in one trade. Sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes it doesn't, right? So it is what it is. In this instance, we already understood that the overall structure was bullish. Yesterday was bullish too. You know, it just wasn't ready yet. They just wanted to mess around a little bit more before they gave us the move. So today's the day that we got the expansion. And so let's just watch what happens here as we start approaching last week's previous high from the previous week. Did anyone else get long on that trade? Great way to start the morning, I'll tell you that. Good work. Good work, Renee. So let's see what we do now as we get to call resistance. Oh, sorry, we're already at call resistance. Let's see what happens now that we are at call resistance. Looks like ES is back at all-time highs. Is that right? Yeah, I think we're back at all-time highs on ES. I think NQ is going to be making that push here soon to get back to its all-time highs. But we've got a long ways to go, about 1,000 points to go, which we could probably do that in the next like week or so. Today's expected range is about 340 points. So maybe tomorrow we'll get the same thing. So maybe by Tuesday, Wednesday, we might be at all-time highs. What's up, Danny? How you doing, buddy? First trade already done. That was a banger. It's probably one of the best trades taken on stream this week. That was a perfect example of a two-legged correction, a two-legged pullback. So we had a W break right here. This is what set the tone. Actually, we had two double W's here. We had this one here, break. You guys can't see that. We got that break. Then 8:30 opens up. We drive higher, create another W, break, and then here they gave us an M, a failed M, but this is basically what you call two-legged correction. 1, 2, and then drive, basically creating a W pattern. Boom. So when you have your bias set, like on the higher time frame, if you believe the price is going to get bullish, and then you confirm it with obviously a pattern of some sort, right? An entry model. On a 1 minute chart, there was really no entry. This is why I like Renko, because if you look at a 1 minute chart, like there was no opportunity to enter unless you were literally just buying the pivot here as it rotated off the level. There was no pullback at all. So if you're waiting for a pullback on a 1 minute chart, you're toast, right? And then if you were looking at the prior structure, you're like, okay, well, where do I enter here? So the issue with that is you had this situation where we're basing right before New York open. This is common, right? And then from here we had the nice quick liquidity run, right? Took out stops, pulled back, 875, reaccumulated, and then it went. So unless you have like some reason to get long at 75, you know, other than that, there was no entry. Like there's no value gap entry, no pullback to moving average entry. I mean, you could have bought the momentum entry, which would have been a breakout, but if you bought the breakout to the downside, you would have got stuck. So then in that case, you could have bought that and you would have caught it, right? But pretty risky. Pretty risky to buy breakouts in a positive gamma environment. So anyways, that's why the Renko makes it a little cleaner for us, because we can see patterns in terms of structure that you really can't see on a 1 minute chart. I like the 1 minute chart because I like to look at candle closes. I like the 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minutes. I like the closes and the timing of the expansion of those candles. But in terms of entry models and entries, I would have to say Renko is, at least the way we do it, is definitely it's definitely cleaner. All right, let's see if these guys are gonna just use this little pop to get higher. What time is it right now? 9:42. 15-minute opening range sets in 2 minutes. It's gonna be a pretty big opening range. Let's see what the ATR is. Not really. How many ticks was that? How many points? High to low. 760 ticks. Okay. Yeah, pretty big. The other clue too, guys, was the VWAP, right? If we were looking at the overnight VWAP from GlobeX, we basically pulled back to that. So that's what that was as well. We had that as another underlying catalyst for what would hold price. They pulled back to the VWAP and then boom, took it off, took it up. It was also a retest of the 9 a.m. open. The 9 a.m. open. Remember, we always talk about the opening prints. Oh, we're beginning to exhaust here at 350s. We have yet to take out the prior week high. Prior week high is at 373s. So they're probably going to pull back a little bit here. Let's see how they accept, if they accept above 30,000. Remember, 30,000 was a major positive gamma level, but it was deteriorating coming into the session. So we'll see if they're going to, this is where dealers have to hedge, right? So it moves up in here. They have to sell into this move in order to remain delta neutral. Our major positive is now up higher, so it's migrated. And they're building some positive gamma up at 100s now. So now we're beginning to see price pull back. And this could be the pullback opportunity. New 15-minute candle opens at 30 seconds. And then what you just got to remember, guys, is basic support resistance. Like, although we are bullish, we do need to understand that in the moment, the current moment, price action, right? What's happening in the moment. Because you could be right. Like yesterday, I had this fixation, right? And it's funny because I used yesterday's trading to add into our coaching brain for our platform. And I got fixated, right? So when you get fixated on something, it prevents you from being fluid and flexible and accepting new information. So instead of trading a thesis, you trade a belief, right? So my belief was we were going to go to 30,000 again. We were going to, the daily chart was going to break out, 4 hour was going to break out. That was, so rather than that be a thesis, it became a concrete belief. And I continued to buy and buy and buy. And even though, and I was watching my trades, I was up almost every trade I was in, I was pretty much up between 100 to 200 ticks, but wouldn't take the profit. Right. So I'm watching the tape again. I'm like, bro, why am I not taking profits? Because I got locked into a fixated belief around 30,000 higher time frame. So after that, I was like, oh my goodness, that was like really, really interesting. So I got hijacked there. I got too locked in. And sometimes that happens when you have a really good day. The day before was a very good day. So then you get overly confident in your analysis. And that's what happened. So yesterday, I ended up obviously losing money at the end, but going through the whole recording, I was like, I didn't have to lose money. I could have been really green yesterday if I would have just followed my game plan, my normal rules. But you know, it's how it is sometimes. So we're breaking out now. We just took out the prior week high. That was the pullback. There was the pullback opportunity. Very clean. Very nice little entry here. They gave us a nice little internal two-leg correction, and then here's the little green dot for continuation. Had the selling coming in, followed by the buyer. The buyer was the catalyst. Once the buyer came in, boom, you see the reaction, drove higher. And now we got another 285 ticks here. And it looks like it might be the day. What I was hoping for yesterday is what we're getting today. So I'm glad I was able to get my 500, 600 ticks on that initial drive. And that's pretty much it. So we'll see if we can catch some more. But the 4 hour candle closes here in 13 minutes. And it looks like it wants to go for its expected high, the daily max, which would be at 30,157. So if you're using our GEX levels, make sure you pay attention to the expected high, expected low of the session, expected mid, because as we start approaching that expected high, that usually is where we begin to see price cap and stall out. So you kind of want to avoid buying, you know, too much size at these highs. We're not there yet. There's still room, about 50 points or so. But just be aware of where we're at, right? Of course, it can blow right through. Anything can happen. But on average, we know that 80+% of the time, price is going to end up closing the session within its expected range. And these are the kind of metrics our dashboard is going to be processing and distilling. So for instance, initial balance, so opening range stats with positive gamma combined with VWAP, with price action structure and order flow. It's going to compress all that, distill it into an actual prediction. I know it sounds crazy to say the word prediction in trading, but I mean, that's really what we're doing every single day, right? We're trying to predict where price is going to go next. But our what we're building is a layer that's going to distill all that information and then predict with percentage certainty, right, whether or not plan A is happening or plan B is happening, and then update real time as price unfolds, bar by bar, tick by tick. That was the pullback entry. Did anyone get that pullback? Very clean entry. Look at that perfect entry there. That was nice. So today was the best day so far of the session. The quality of price action is like quality level 10. Level 10 price action. Interesting. Oh, the entry. Let's pull it up over here for you. Okay. So the entry was here. So at the open, when I take it, if I take a trade right at the open, I use wider stops. So I'll use smaller size. So the level I was actually watching was 75. That was the main area I was interested in because we had this structure here. We were bullish overnight. We're bullish on every time frame. I mean, if you just pull up a daily 4 hour, 1 hour, you'll see we're bullish. But the structure for us here on the Renko was pretty straightforward. We basically had these ongoing bullish structures forming here. And every time they came to the bottom band, so what we look at the Enzo bands is when we get extreme, what happens? So we got extreme here. Oh, you can't see that. Extreme, we rotate it to the other side. Here we got extreme. This is what they usually do, you know, when we're about to explode. Rotate to the other side. Extreme again. And then from here, rotate to the other side. And then notice when we got at the open, we're already at the extreme. So we don't want to buy the extreme. And then the open happened, right? So as soon as we started dumping back under, I started getting long around the 9 a.m. open. So the 9 a.m. opening print, not the 9:30, 9 a.m. So we pulled back to the 9 a.m. I initially got in early and I expected like, okay, it could probably go a little deeper, but it was fine. I was willing to actually give myself some room down to like 850s. This time I didn't like size up too early. I just took some small size. So basically it was 2 contracts here, price came down, added 2 more contracts, got an initial pop, then came back down and pulled back to our 200 moving average and our GlobeX VWAP. So the GlobeX VWAP, do I have that on this chart? I should have it on this chart, but there was a GlobeX VWAP down in this area. And then that's what, once we accepted, so 75 was the level, and then from there, once we got our flip, that's when everything transitioned back to bullishness. And then the confirmed entry would have been like right there. You could have gotten on that pullback right there. But I didn't do that. I just got in early, whatever, and then just waited to see what was going to happen. And it worked out quite nice. And I took my first partial at 950s. There was 200 ticks there. And then the last contract at 30,025. Yeah, that's what it was, right? Yeah, so I took 2 here, and I had 4 contracts on total. So 2 here and then 1 here, or 3 here, or 2 here, sorry. 2 here, so that's what it was. Took 2 contracts here, 1 contract here, and then 1 contract there. And that was it. And now we got this next leg up. So pretty simple stuff this morning. When price action, when the momentum is there, it's pretty clean. Pretty clean. But now we're approaching our expected high. Let's see if they're going to break out of the expected high. So look at the 15-minute chart. Look at every time frame. If you look at the bottom of my chart right now, you'll see it says full bull. That's because every time frame is above its current open price from 15-minute and higher. When the 15-minute and higher is full bull, you do not want to be looking at short here, guys. Let's see what happens here. The other thing that's also worth noting, if you look at a higher time frame, like a 30-minute chart, on that 30-minute chart, they spent pretty much a day and a half consolidating between 900, so 29,900s and 29,800s. So that 100-point range, that's where they spent a day and a half just chopping. And so now, once they finish building acceptance above 800s, at that point, it was like where we're going to expand to. Well, we knew the previous expansion was bullish, and then it just based for a day and a half, and now we're getting a second leg up. So what that looks like, we got this situation right here. So we came up. This was what day was that? August 12th. This was yesterday. So from GlobeX to New York, and then in New York they just spent time chopping around here. Then GlobeX opened up, and they just spent time chopping around here again. And you can actually see all the value that's been built in this area here. right? So that's what it was. And then now, as we start rotating outside the bottom of the range here, came up, came back in, held the middle, and then that was it. Game over, triggered. Would have been hard to enter this on a higher time frame. You would need to, if you're trying to use the tightest stops possible, obviously you need to be looking at either a Renko chart or some other type of price-based chart. Time-based chart really didn't give you a clean entry early on, but it did give us that pullback on that second leg right here. So now they're consolidating here at the highs, under the expected high. And now this is when I want to watch the order book to see if they're, adding contracts above or below, what they're doing, how they're going to handle. What are people doing at this level, right? Are we seeing price getting offered higher? Or are we beginning to see exhaustion up in this area? You can see the order book. You can see the big trades. A lot of buyers at the highs, obviously, and then someone just sold 200 contracts into the bid and filled. So now it's a battle here. The balance between 150s and 125. So look at that 25-point range as our consolidation. And let's see, they're going to probably do like a narrow consolidation, and then they'll probably end up like closing below it, and then eventually reclaim it, and then maybe continue higher. Or it could be done. It could be exhausted here. It could be tired, right? And give us a deeper retracement. I have no idea. So we have to just wait. Remember, your thesis needs to be fluid. And as you get new information, what's that information? Every bar, every tick, every new piece of information, it needs to either confirm the thesis, make it strengthen it, or weaken it. And of course, there's times when the market's going to rotate and pull back and stuff like that, but that's where you need to have a higher time frame thesis blended with a lower time frame thesis. And you have to kind of like find that sweet spot where at what point is the higher time frame invalidated because of the lower time frame. All right? That's the part that can be tricky, because the lower time frame can start looking like it's reversing and bearish, but the higher time frame is still bullish, and you're like holding on to this, right? And that's what happened to me yesterday. It was like the higher time frame is bullish, but the lower time frame was bearish. It kept breaking lower. Every pop failed, but the higher time frame was bullish. But that's a good example. Yesterday was a good example of analysis fixation. If you're on the stream with me. So watching here, they're holding this consolidation here. So it feels like they're gonna do a fake breakout. They're gonna probably pop it up, hold it a little bit, get people to buy, and then pull it back under the consolidation, right? So those buyers get trapped up top above 150, and then from there the real move will happen. And it's gonna probably happen like right around 10 o'clock. So let's see. So that's called like an overhead press, basically. They basically come to, they do a big strong move up, and then they start consolidating, all right, and then they pop it up for a little bit, and then they go boom, and then they start slowly grinding it back up after that. Of course, it could not happen, right? But it kind of looks like that when we start seeing like 25-point consolidations like that. So there's the break. Some follow through here. We got a large offer at 190s. We can watch the book map here. Large offers for sale at 190. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff with the book map stuff on the back end as well. So it'll be a lot of modules in terms of how I like to use it with all the indicators I built for book map. So that's going to be really good, because book map is great, but it's missing an important piece, which is actual market structure. Like, or levels. I mean, you can look at it, but I don't know. For me, it's a little bit muddy. I kind of like straight lines on my chart. And sometimes it's hard to remember the levels and the prices because you don't necessarily have the entire historical view of bookmap on the chart, especially if you have like multiple charts. Now, on my main screen, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 charts right here. No, 5 charts. I got one of those big Odyssey monitors. They're like 54 inches. And bookmap's like right over here. They just reloaded from what was that? They just added contracts there, like 91 contracts. See, how long has those contracts been in the book? There you go. Now they just recovered that from down 157s. There's the pullback. Let's see if it's going to hold here. I don't know. I wouldn't buy this. We're above our expected high. The only way I'd buy again is if we trap some buyers, get sellers in the mix, and then we trap the sellers, and then I can get long. Unless it's going to be one of those days where it's just a positive gamma, slow grind up all day type scenario, right? So if that's what it is, then that just means price is just going to keep going higher and higher and higher and higher and give shallow pullbacks. And then eventually, and then every so often, you'll get these liquidation spikes. Like it'll go up, 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 up out of nowhere, boom, drop 100, 200 ticks, and then slow grind back all the way up. Drop again, slow grind all the way back up. This could be the overhead press right here happening. So we've got that consolidation. We're now beginning to break out of it, and then they usually will hold it here for a little bit, and then pull it back inside, and then the actual move may go. We'll see if that's what this is. I'll try a scalp. I know I said I wouldn't sell in this uptrend, but it's a common structure that I pretty much see quite often. So I think it's a low quality trade, but I'll take it since I have a pretty nice little buffer at the moment, just in case they want to give us that deeper retracement here. Then we got 4 out of 5 time frames currently under its open. So let's see if it's gonna stay that way. I'm watching 57s here. This is no longer an overhead press because they've consolidated above the consolidation. So if they consolidate and create a new consolidation right above it, that's not the same thing. They should have already failed. So I'm going to cut that trade for 12 tick stop. So what I would have preferred to have seen is they get above it here and then they get back under right away. But instead they're holding it and consolidating. So that means we're building acceptance above this range. So that is not what I'm looking for. So I cut the trade, small cut. 12 tick stop. Be wrong quick. So expansion and consolidation, expansion to consolidation. And maybe we get the next expansion here. Let's watch what happens here, 200s. A lot of activity going on here. We can see that they're trying to fill the 190s here, right? They got these large contracts at 190. They're trying to get up there. They're going to get there. It's just, you got to, that's why it's probably better. That's all the other reason why I didn't want to stay in that short trade, because I'm pretty sure they're going to go fill those orders at 190. So if anything, let that be where they go. And then from there, we can look what they're going to do. Can't buy in this range though. The key is you wait for a failure below the range and then you get long. But now we've got two ranges. So I feel like they're going to want to liquidate the bottom range too. Give us a deeper retracement, probably back to the middle band at 130s, like 131 right here, or lower, like 30,070s. So what I would prefer is we get something like this, and then we come back down here, and then we reclaim and we can go back again. So we're in the no buy zone. Like we don't buy up in this band up here. Okay. We don't want to buy that. Big Renko chart here, just chilling. Look at that. Let's throw our structure here. So this is the big Renko chart. Very clean. Look at how that entry came in right there, right on time. That's the entry trigger right there. That would have been an automated entry if you're using our hotkeys. And that's it. If you could have stayed in that trade on this for 1,000 ticks. But look how messy it was here from 840 after the 830 news. Pull back, and then it went. So this is actually very helpful because then we technically can see the macro structure here. So this is where we got bullish from yesterday at the close. Globex pullback. And this took hours. So even though it looks quick, but from here to this move here, what time was this? That was Globex start to 9:30. That's not right. Is that 9:30? That's not 9:30. What is this? Oh, that was yesterday. That was yesterday's price action. Holy cow. That was yesterday's price action. Look at that. This is from 9:30 to end of day. Like, look how terrible that price action was. But all that was just a big pullback. And notice how they couldn't take out this low here. They still created this higher low pivot. That's funny. And then this signal came in at, oh, this is right at 9:30. So right at 9:30, we got the move on the Renko chart. Yeah, if you throw your volatility zones on here, perfect pullback to support. Damn, my indicators are pretty good. Sheesh. Pretty good, huh? Pretty lit. There's really nothing to do right now, guys. We're consolidating here. At the moment. Consolidating between 80s and 70s, it looks like. It's like a little 10-point range. Real tight here. Real tight here. Look at that. Unbelievable. Look at how we got buyers buying the high, sellers selling the low. They just can't escape the box here. Who's going to win? Which side? Which side? Positive gamma, so be careful buying these breakouts. I know the market's strong and bullish, but be careful because we're approaching our major positive here on the session, which is right around 210s. They just filled those offers on Bookmap, by the way. Those offers did get taken out. Let's see if it holds. Watching. Let's see. Got the next level of offers at 200s. Let's see if they're going to trade through 200s. ES is at its one-day max. The buyer's going to take out these 100 contracts here. But you want to watch when they get to the level. Wow, there you go. They filled the contracts immediately. But they're reloading here. There's somebody trying to reload here at 200s. There's an iceberg order that just came in. And buyers are just being relentless here. They're chewing through all these offers. And we can see the delta is growing, stair-stepping higher. CBD. Now I'd like to look at the higher time frame and see like where are we going? Like where's this thing trying to go? Right? Like it's gonna go somewhere. It's price when a price moves in a trend, it's because it has an objective, right? So what's the next objective for price? Well, we've taken out all these stops right here. So all this stuff is already taken care of. Mission accomplished. Next level stops are going to be right here. We got these guys here who are pretty much just waiting to get tagged out. And then from there, we got this guy up top. So let's see what those prices are here. 95 and 30s, basically. So this continues to expand. And, you know, if this is going to give us a measured move, this would be one leg up, consolidated for a day and a half. And now we're going to get our next leg up. And then that would look something like this. Oops. Which puts us right back to all-time highs. The price loves measured moves. So we'll see if that's what they end up doing, right? If that's the case, you want to probably load up your long-term portfolio. You're buying the indexes or buying some type of ETF, because it looks like we're going all-time highs, folks. That looks probable. So right now on the 4-hour, what I'm seeing is we've got this expansion candle, and then the next 4-hour candle is probably going to give us, if it doesn't give us an expansion candle, it'll probably give us a candle that's going to for sure stay above this candle's high. This will then create a gap. We get a 3-candle gap eventually. And then from there, maybe tomorrow there'll be opportunity for pullback continuation, or we end up consolidating going sideways for Friday. So this candle, this next candle here is going to determine whether or not this forms an imbalance. We've got to get some resist rejection here off of 200s. They did fill those offers. Let's look at the book map. Let's see if they're going to support 200s here. We're testing our major positive now at 210s. Price has not been able to close through it. Be careful buying here. All these guys right here are vulnerable. All these stops right here have built up. So remember, it looks like a safe space. The safest space on the chart for a buyer is the most dangerous place for a buyer. All right. Same thing too for a seller. If you're a seller and it looks real clean, like overhead resistance is just a nice, clean, flat box edge, that's dangerous. Let's see if we're gonna be able to get through our major positive here. So it seems like these guys are putting some sell pressure here at these highs. Once we get through this level, then we have our next major level right around 325s, about 100 points away. What's this price here? 261, sorry. Let's see if they can get through it. They're struggling here. Could be an overhead press. It might be. I'm gonna try. See if they give us a overhead press move back to the bid down here at 260s. Still holding up here. New 15-minute candle. Let's see. We got a nice little gap down by 157s. If this does tank or pull back, will be the reason we would. Well, we had a bid down there of 61s. Maybe that's going to be a good magnet for price. But then also the 15-minute has an imbalance underneath at 157s. Let's see. We haven't really taken out these lows yet, and it's getting real compressed here. That major positive is holding up, sort of, kind of. Okay, they're trying to break out a squeeze again. Watching here, 75 contracts just hit the offer. Okay, looks like they're beginning to accept above this major positive level 210s. Can they give me a reversal bar back down? These guys are still holding up here. So I'm watching right here. They're going to hold this up. We get through this low, then that would give me permission to hold this for these bids that are stacking down below. So 175s. So we're in short from 210s or near 210s. I'm going to see if we get this little pop here. Got a book flip on Bookmap. They're now stacking offers as price is dropping. So they had offers here. Price went up, price dropped, and now they're lowering the offer to push price lower. Let's see if we get to these bids here at 180s, 177s. We'll take the first one off at 180s where that bid is. There's 40 ticks. Moving stops at the same time as price is dropping in this bullish market. Just in case, just in case. Let's see. Can they stay heavy underneath my little zone here? Let's see. Let's see. Come on, boys. A little bit more. 75. Give it to me 75. Got to be careful, though. There's all this bullish structure here. Got the buyer that came in. So this 100 contract buyer was the buyer who created the breakout. So let's see if they're going to end up holding this area here. Could act as support. There's only one time frame bearish on the higher time frame, which is 15-minute. But that can change instantly. Instantly. Okay, looks like they're trying to reclaim here. It's watching. There's that bid again, down below. See if they're going to try to get back up to the 210s again. Nice little liquidation they did there. Hopefully they don't take it all the way back to the high. And then they do one of these bear traps. So we're back above 200s again. Can they hold 200s, or are they going to get back under 200s and give us that second leg down? Can they give me a second leg down? I wouldn't want to sit through a flip. So if price gets back to our next flip, this would create the next rotation leg higher. So I don't want to sit through that. So my stop will be pretty much right there. So we can predict when the next rotation begins. So as of right now, we're in a down rotation, this leg here. But once we get to this point, this would then confirm the next up rotation, and then they could start trading higher. So I'm just being cautious here because obviously we know every time frame is bullish, except for the 15-minute. Coming back to 210s. Big buyers coming into 210s. This is already invalidating my setup because we should not have recovered from that box that I drew. So okay, I'm out on this trade. Took that stop. 64 tick stop on that one. And let's see if they give us now the continuation move. So they recovered from down here. Well, we shall see. It's still very, very thick up in this area here. You can see all the overhead resistance here. So let's watch to see if they're going to continue to hold this area here, or if we're going to be able to get that breakout. We got the flip. Can they get the squeeze now? Still having a hard time here at this level. Okay, here we go. They're going to get that next leg for continuation higher. Are they going to be able to do it? Yeah, I'm not buying this. You can't buy this. Looks like they're trying to trap some buyers now again. This looks like a freaking overhead press, but we'll see. They're compressing here at the highs. Let's look at the 1 minute chart. Look at the bodies. What they did here. Got real tight right here. Broke out underneath, which is expected, and then they break back in to reclaim and then rotate to the other side. I was just hoping that we get maybe a deeper drop to this area here. Well, when they do this, it's a bobby. It's a breakout, break back in, right? Breakout, break back in, consolidate. Breakout, break back in, consolidate. Until finally we get the expansion. That buyer is going to get stopped out here. Let's see. Major positive. This is a good example of when you have the largest GEX level on the chart holding his prices compressing right here, and you're just like putting that sell pressure on. You know what I mean? Like we're seeing it happen real time. So that green line is a major gamma level, guys. Let's see if they're going to squeeze through this thing. Just look at all the rejection, though. I mean, those wicks are just nasty. It's like a topping pattern. Feels like it's they're having a hard time finding some strong enough buyers to bust through this area here. So one of two things need to happen: either sellers need to exhaust here, and the buyers can start ripping, or price has to go lower to find more buyers. If we look at the order book, we can see it's being dominated currently at the moment by sellers based on CVD at these highs. So we have price action bullish, but we've got a lot of selling happening at these highs. So there's a divergence there, a delta divergence. But the overall 30-minute profile is still net positive. So this 30-minute delta is positive. We got 2 minutes left here before the IB gets set. There's the squeeze. Nice. Here's the next break. There's the IB, just got set. Good work. Taking your scalp, absolutely. Good work. Yeah, and once they reclaimed that 200, they closed under 200 and they immediately reclaimed it, went back inside the range, and they rotate to the other side. I mean, that's like a perfect slingshot right there. They go so that pullback right there. I mean, it was very nice. Real tight, real compressed. That's not when you buy. You wait for price to fake breakout. In this case, they close underneath the major level where all these buyers are feeling comfortable. Closed under, closed back up, went back inside the consolidation here. And then here we see that this buyer, he was a vulnerable buyer, but it ended up holding. They went back inside 2 bars, got real tight. When you start seeing that type of compression here, that's it. Boom. Those inside bars. Those inside bars. Okay, there's the IB high. Let's see if we can continue pushing higher. What do we say was the next level of interest? 240, 224, 224. Are we almost, 324, sorry. We got next GEX level here, 250s. You can see them building here, adding. Let's see if they're going to be increasing size here, 259s. Yeah, they've started growing the gamma here. Overhead. Well, today is becoming one of those always in long scenarios. So far 10:30, no pullbacks on the 5-minute. Is that right? Let me pull up a 5-minute chart. Yeah, no. Well, one little. In this case, it was a very shallow pullback. It was basically a previous candle sweep, a low sweep, a failed twos, what we'll call it. So this looks like that's what this is going to be today. Positive gamma, grind up all day. ATR is still pretty compressed on the 1 minute, surprisingly. It's only 64 ticks a minute. 30-minute ATR is only 228. So in spite of the fact that we've been expanding and creating extensions higher, it hasn't really been crazy. These extensions have not been crazy. So 30-minute average is 200 ticks. So that means if the average on the 30 minutes is about 200 ticks on a 30-minute chart, that means you should be targeting about 80 to 100 ticks of profit. That's like higher probability, low-hanging fruit target on a 30-minute, unless you're going to be holding for multiple 30-minute auctions. So we got imbalance now on the 30-minute down below. 15, we've got multiple imbalances. The hourly, not confirmed yet, but they will probably form an imbalance too. Let's see. So we're approaching that 30,324 level. 30,000, so 324s. So we are up 1.5% today on the NQ. What about the ES? Almost 1%, 0.9%. And we got time frame continuity on the ES. Every time frame bullish on the ES. Oh, that's good, man. Days like today, easy pickings. Watch out here. Price beginning to exhaust under 250s. Maybe. Looks that way. See if they're gonna buy it back up, put price back above 250 here. That's a breakout right there. All right, small micro consolidation, and then we broke out to the upside, failed, broke back in under the bottom. Now do we get back above? That's the question. There's that slingshot. Let's see if it holds. Let's see if it holds. Break out. Consolidate, break out above, break out back in, reclaim, and then goes. Let's see. Oh, that failed. Let's see if it holds. If it fails here, it could be a scalp. Let's see. Take a quick scalp. We get a test of at least IB high. Take out that wick. Can we take out that wick? Come on now. Give me a closure through this area right here. A little bit more. It could come back to this breakout area all the way down here to test. We're in short right now for a scalp. Counter trend trading. My favorite thing to do. Just kidding. Okay, they're pulling back to the IB high. Will these buyers step back in? Looking for a little bit more. Every time frame still bullish, so this could just simply be a pullback, guys. Just a pullback to the 21. But we'll see. Got a failed breakout twice by the buyers. They failed here once. And failed here again. So now these buyers need to step back in. This is where they need to take control of the auction here so they can get this thing rolling again. And then if so, then this would complete another possible two-legged correction. So now we see here if they're going to use this guy to create a swing low to punch through these highs. Yes, I am short, but we'll cut that trade if we start breaking back above this guy now. This guy, we take this guy out right here at 260s. So I'm always trying to trade the failure. Get on side where whoever's offside. There we go. There's 50 ticks. Can we actually get a little bit more? Do I have permission to be a little greedy today on these counter trend scalps? We got GEX 5 here at 31s. They just swept right back up. Watching 250. That's the level if they reclaim. Don't want to be in the trade if that's the point. If they're still there. Should have took that scalp for 50 ticks. Now watching this area here. We had a sweep of the low. Are they going to drive it higher from here or lower? Stop's already break even regardless. It's a counter trend trade. Market's still bullish. We're just pulling back to the 21 moving average and the IB high. So I don't want to sit through another squeeze. So I just put my stop break even just in case. Can we take out this guy here? So we're testing 1030 open print, right? So that's kind of what I'm watching for. We tested the 1030 open. Can we get under the 1030 open now? There's our 30-minute POC that's been set at 243s. There's 76 ticks. Let's take one contract off. And let's just ride the rest. And we'll see what happens. Remember those areas I talked about, right? All these areas down here. I was like, yeah, they should probably liquidate those guys right here. What was that at 200s? And then we got all these guys at 160s. Nice. There's 100 ticks. 15-minute now is trying to dig into its imbalance, and we have another imbalance under 200s. I don't know if we're going to get all the way down there. And they'll probably want to give us a pullback to this GEX area here at 210s. But I got my trail on, so if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. All good. Lock in like 15 points. All good in the hood. Let the trail work. That's what I haven't been doing this week. I haven't been trailing tight like that. I've been trailing too loose and giving back my profits. Yeah. Hey, 50 ticks is good, bro. 10 points. And this, look, what you gotta look at is what makes the most sense with the current volatility. On the 1 minute chart, it's 58 ticks is the ATR. So if you get 50 ticks, that's good. This market's bullish, so we can't really expect like crazy big rotations to the other side. Positive gamma. We're not. I mean, we're not seeing two-way trade. It's just been directional up until now. Of course, it can change. You know, every 30 minutes can change. But that's good. Good. What matters most is your risk, right? So just don't oversize on these trades because we're going against the trend. So the chances of it working out isn't that great. But if it does work out and it ends up being the right point in time, then you can catch a huge return, a huge reward. But so far, like right now, this is plotting the pivot right here. It's like we can call it, head and shoulders. So my version of head and shoulders is real tight with the Renko. So that's what this red zone is plotting right here. This little circular. You probably can't see. I got so much shit on my chart. But anyways, that's kind of where I was risking right there. So as soon as we started seeing this thing reject against it, I was like, all right, let's give it a go. And then on that 1 minute, we saw that failed breakout by the buyer. We bought here, trapped, and then the second breakout. So 2 breakouts by the buyers failed. So that's why I was like, all right, I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go. And it looks like they're still going to probably print another low here. So let's see if they get another lower low. A decent pullback after a big run like this would be to the bottom Enzo band, which would put us like right around 30,000 180s. So that would be where I would see a reload for longs right here in this area here. Probably even lower than that, to be honest. Probably like, yeah, I mean, that's reasonable. That's also our zero gamma level. Zero gamma is at 168s. We'll just call it 170s. Hey Danny, are you using NinjaTrader? Because if you're using NinjaTrader, then you get access to the suite of tools, man. The suite of tools. They're gonna stop out this buyer here. I think they're gonna stop out the folks who caught the breakout. It feels like they want to take these guys out. The 207s, got a fractal here, 204, and then the main pivot's at 185. So it feels like these are the areas they're gonna try to like stop all the people in the money, and then that technically could give us a situation based on what happens here. If they don't reclaim, then this could mean a possibility that could be the high of the session, at least for now, and then maybe we see even lower prices. So we've got all this to kind of like revisit right here. So if you look at a volume profile chart, these would all be pretty much high volume nodes. These would be low volume nodes. And as we start trading through these high volume nodes, I'm just gonna just extend them on my chart. It's worth watching to see what happens, because then these levels could eventually become resistance, overhead resistance. You start failing to get back above. You actually don't need to do this on your actual real chart. I'm just doing this more so for teaching purposes here. So just imagine all these little areas here is where volume accumulated that led to the extension, accumulation, extension, accumulation, extension. No, very shallow accumulation here. No two-way trade, very little time spent, rotate back down, coming right back into balance where price spent time. We have buyers failing up in this area here. So there's a very strong possibility to come back and revisit this area. We didn't spend much time here. But currently, look, price action showing us lower low, lower high, so we have to respect that. Yeah, it could absolutely go and break out the high, but you don't want to be the guy buying and then it drops lower. I'm buying, it drops lower. Right? That was me yesterday. Don't be like that. Trading much better today after taking the time to watch my own recording and diagnosing what I was doing. Every time you have a red day, it's very helpful to watch yourself, watch what you did. So, you know, if you're not recording your trading, I highly recommend you do. Use OBS, just record it. You don't need to show it to anybody, just record it. Fortunately and unfortunately, all my stuff's on YouTube, so everyone can see when I'm trading like a dummy and when I'm trading good. But point is, you record yourself, you watch your trading, you know, and then with our AI journal, you're gonna be able to upload your entire trades, all your trades in there, and then it's gonna literally diagnose, you know, one of the major patterns that we see with trading in terms of behavior, execution. So we look at the 4 different layers: behavior, risk, a bunch of different things that we look at, execution, and it's going to literally tell you things. So, you know, even for me, I've been trading for a long time, like since 2016 I've been trading, and my own AI, which I'm the one training it, right? I'm literally feeding it and training it and doing all that stuff. It's literally pulling out my blind spots and it's telling me stuff, and I'm like, oh shit. I was like, oh yeah, that's actually right. Okay, good. Because what it's going to actually look at, so if you're trading, for instance, prop firms, how many of you guys trade prop firms on here? We don't really talk about prop firms on the stream. I didn't really want to make this stream about prop firm affiliate, you know, stuff like most people. I wanted this to be really focused on trading, right? Trading concepts, order flow, Renko, Gamma, just straight pure trade talk. But if you're trading prop firms, wouldn't it be cool if like it could literally pull all, like, let's say, so of course you have to add, you know, your data, you have to upload your trades at the end of the day. This will, the whole thing you have to do, just upload them, and then our AI, we're training it where it's going to analyze not just your trades for the session, but your trades historically across all the different accounts you have. And you can choose analyze my prop firms accounts, whatever. But what it's going to basically do is uncover why you're blowing your accounts, why you're not getting payouts. It's going to literally tell you, and it's going to identify overarching patterns and blind spots. And then from there, it's going to give you a game plan of what you need to do. And obviously, you know, can't do it for you, but it's going to literally be so black and white that it's almost like, you know, if you don't take these steps, that just means you're not really a trader. You're just a straight up gambler, right? But it's going to be really powerful because now, instead of coming in every day like it's a fresh day, because it's really not. It's not really a fresh day. You're really coming in today, but you're a product of what happened the last 60 days, last 90 days. Everything that's happened is kind of like forming your perception of the market, how you view the trades, your behavior when you take a trade, when you take a loss. You know, who you are before you take a loss is a totally different person than when you take a loss, right? And that's a big thing, right? So the trader before taking a loss, clear-headed, got a game plan, gonna follow your rules. Once you take a loss, once you take a few losses, then it changes, right? And so you're gonna be able to see your prop firm patterns. And all these things are going to pull together to really just give you an actionable data set of what you can do to start maximizing your trades. And then from there, you're going to have that improvement plan. So that's the goal. It's just like, look, you can learn all the different strategies. You can learn order flow. You can learn, Renko. You can learn smart money concept. You can learn all these things. But at the end of the day, knowing more information about how to trade isn't going to help you trade effectively and consistently. Right? I mean, they say it all the time. Like, it's 10% action or 10% information, 90% action is what they say. I think it's more like 20% information, 20% action, and then the rest is all mindset. It's psychology. And that's the hardest thing, especially if you're wired like me, where you're a type A personality, you're competitive, you have a background in like I have a background in marketing and sales, and that's what I did since I was 18. Business ownership, entrepreneurship, go hustle, grind it out, work hard, that type of mindset. Then it's going to be a challenge to have the right mindset trading. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, the hardest thing is trying to get your personality where it needs to be so it doesn't sabotage your ability to be an effective trader. You literally have to like turn off that little beast mode mindset, that aggressive motivation to like, push. You almost have to be like a yogi. Zen. Like, oh, I don't care about money. I don't care about loss. I have no ego. I just follow the process. Yeah. Well, prop firms are hard. Prop firm trading is hard. Okay. It's very hard. The prop firm wins because even though the rules stay the same, there's a lot of rules. Most people, when it comes to money, once they start making money and losing money, they have an inability to stay disciplined with their rules. And then you couple that with a market that's changing all the time. Like, the market this week is totally different than the market was 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? And for most retail traders, they don't have the experience, enough time, screen time to even understand the concept of market regimes. They just think everything's the same. It's like, oh, I'm going to follow my system. I'll pull back to a moving average. I'm going to buy a breakout, pullback, hold, fair value gap. And because they look at a chart and they see, oh, it's pretty consistent, it works. But what they're not realizing is it's after the fact, it's easy. But in the moment, depending on the market regime that we're in, it's not, and the market changes. And that's hard, especially if you're trading prop firms where it's like you got intraday drawdown, you got end of day draw. It just all depends on the different rules. It's funny, it's crazy, but most people really, they would actually make more money. They'd be more. Most people, I know it's probably not the right thing to say, but most people would perform better on their own account if they just traded their own cash account. Start a small account, a couple $100, $500, $1,000, trade 1 or 2 micros. There's no rules except for the rules you set for yourself, and the rule you're going to want to set is a daily max loss. Obviously, if it's a small account, you can't have a $500 max loss on the day, and maybe it's $100, $200, $150, whatever. But it's just so you can start trading without that goalpost where it's like, I have to pass or I have to hit X number of trades to get a payout. Once you remove that from the trading where you have to do something or have to trade, you'll be amazed. You could become a lot more selective with your trading. And the quality, it's all about decision quality, right? So one thing that I've noticed about my trades since being on these streams is I overtrade. Why do I overtrade? Well, because if the whole stream is about trading and then we're not trading and then I'm not talking, and then it's like, what are we doing here? We're just sitting here looking at each other. Because I'm not really an entertainer like some of these other folks that they could sit there and just talk crazy shit all day. Like, I could do that, but that's not what I want to do. It's not really my thing. So I find myself, because I'm on a stream, I'm like, well, I'm going to put some trade on. I'm going to put some risk on. Let's take some trades. Let's see what happens. So I find myself taking a lot of trades that maybe I wouldn't take if I didn't have to. Like, if it wasn't like, oh, I have people watching, I better take a trade. So, I think my mindset going forward is being more selective. Who cares how many people are watching? I don't need to take trades. I could literally just sit here for a whole stream and not take one trade. It's a little different because I see other people take, they have their streams rolling. I have a buddy of mine. He has probably one of the biggest streams. and he just started probably like a year or two ago streaming. In fact, I taught him concepts about smart money like 3 or 4 years ago. He didn't even know what it was. I met him when we were trading stocks. He was pretty good doing small caps, and then he wanted to get in futures. And then I'm watching his stream just to kind of see how he's doing things, and he's got like 8,000 people watching him. It's unbelievable. But he doesn't show his charts. He doesn't show his trades. He just has his little chart, and he just talks about it. Like, oh, I think it looks good to be a long here. I think it's good to short here. But he's not showing his trades. You know what I mean? So no one actually knows if he's taking the trades or not taking the trades. It's a little different for me because I'm actually taking these trades. So I like this right here. I do like that pullback. Remember when I talked about pulling back to the bottom band? Let's see if they're going to give it to me here. I'm going to take a quick scalp shorts, tight risk right there at 200s under my little left shoulder. Got the dot. We didn't get an M pattern, but we did get the deep retracement here. So we'll see if we get that. Very tough personality. A tough adjustment for a personality type if you're an A type. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why you need to have like other things that you do, like go to the gym so you can be an A type personality, so you can express that side of who you are, right? Because you need to have that self-expression. So if you are that type A aggressive person, competitive, you got to do something else. Don't let trading be that outlet, because it's the fastest way that you're going to lose money. If you don't have that, then you don't have that issue. You may have another issue, which is called fear. Like you are over analyzing and you can't take trades. You have analysis paralysis. Right? So there's two sides of the spectrum. Over trading, over execution because you're aggressive, you're beast mode type A, or you're not executing. And that can come from over paralysis analysis, that can come from fear, lack of confidence, and so because of that, you miss out on opportunity. So it's a balance. You kind of have to find that sweet spot. Are they going to come back down one more time? Let's see if they're going to come back down one more time and retest and give a double bottom before they actually take this thing back up. But we are all full bull on every time frame, so we'll see. Full bull on every time frame. We'll see. Trading reveals that. Yeah, absolutely. We're pulling back to my zone. Can we hold the zone here? Watching here. Watching this green box here. If they're going to hold it up. If they give me a flip, then that'll be good. If not, then I'll be out. Let's see. Okay, that did not hold up. So it looks like they are not done going lower, but we're still within the zone, so all good. Usually stop should be outside the band, but I have a big enough cushion. It's fine. I do like the idea of the continuation, but I have to respect what's happening right now. So on that 1 minute chart, we're still pulling back into this area. We're still technically holding. We did run to stops already. I don't like that they failed here, the buyers. They failed here on this breakout right there. So we do have this little situation developing here. Oops. Let's get rid of this here. We did right there. This guy just failed. We're testing the zone here. So they're going to probably maybe want to take out this guy down here, 85. Oops. Right there. But of course, I'm just going to allow my stop below here. I'm already kind of like taking a bigger stop than I would want to take. I'm already invalidated with that dot. So I'm hoping that we get like an immediate recovery here off of 200s. Gotta be careful. Bottom band zone, looking for a W pattern here. If we get a W pattern, that would be dope. And then we can look for a move back up to the X point up at 267s. So we're pulling back. Where did we pull back to? So we rejected off the 10:30 open, and now we're testing or retesting our 11 o'clock open. There we go. Can we get a W pattern now and get a drive? Can we get a drive? So we need to get to this green line that says next bullish rotation flip. That would give me my green dot. And that would then validate us for a W pattern right here. And then if that's the case, then we look for this type of extension here. Boom, back to X. It's a X, A, B, C, D. Let's watch that big Renko here. Okay, it looks like we're in the money now. We're about to be. Let's see if we can punch through. So we got all this volume here, all this clustering of gamma and volume. It's a low volume node here. So this is representing the last 5 days of price. So this area here is pretty thin. So let me come back again. And then we got this bid that just popped up right around 180s. So we didn't get that W pattern yet. Let's see. Let's see. So 25 is our resistance level that we're battling in right now. There's 200s. Let's watch out. Keep your eye on 200. So we're in that consolidation between 200 and 225. So we had a spike down into a range. We did have sellers try here a few times. Look, sellers tried here, couldn't close. They tried here, couldn't close. Tried here, couldn't close. And if we look left, we've got this base right here kind of acting as support, but let's just kind of map this new consolidation out right here. So they're building some value here, building a balance, two-way trade, but we've not been able to get any type of movement above 25, GEX 5. So we're balanced right now. So 200 is pretty much 50-50, buyers versus sellers here in this area. And they are trying to compress here, creating these lower highs. So it looks like they're trying to like get people short, but I don't know if I prefer the long, obviously, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm in long. What time is it? We got a minute left for the 5-minute candle to close. ES is trading down on the 5-minute, but we're at 0 gamma on the 5-minute chart on the ES. So we'll see if they support price there. Let's see. Can we get this pop? New 5-minute just opened. It's a possibility that they do want to get outside the band first before they do take it back up. So they are holding this safety zone, this safe space for buyers, right? We got lower highs, but then we got flat lows, right? So you got to be careful with that. This could be a situation where they end up breaking under and then breaking back up and recover. So could be a little early here. This would be a situation where they break under, get back up, and then go. Let's see. I'm going to see what they do here at this point now. If we get that push out, that push. We got alignment on every time frame at the moment, but let's see if we get some follow through above 25s. I'm looking for a W pattern here on the Renko chart. Can we get it? Adding more contracts, tightening up my risk now. So if it fails, I'll be out immediately at the next flip or even quicker. Right there. Because if it rejects here, I don't want to be in the trade anymore. Well, we didn't get the W yet. We still didn't take out that pivot high. So these boys are teasing that high. It's a little bit more. Can we get it? Large buyer coming in right there. Can we take it out? Now let's look at Bookmap. Now let's see if they can hold 25s. There's an offer at 230 for 27 contracts. Come on. POC's down at 205. So I got my stop underneath the 30-minute POC. I have a POC on every 30-minute interval. So the prior POC here was 217s. That's good. And then I got my POC. So this risk on this trade now is only 53 ticks since I did size up some more contracts. We're having a hard time here. They're not closing through 25s. Yeah, not good. Okay, I'm out. Took a 40 tick stop on that trade, guys. Just manually cut the trade. That's okay. They should have given it. I mean, you can still do it. So I'm just going to wait to see if they do give us the pullback for this entry. There's the pullback. So this would be the dot, the pullback, and then I would need to see this thing just go. If it doesn't go, it's an immediate cut. So I did re-enter on that pullback here, but it needs to take out this high. Otherwise, it's not ready yet. You can see the volume pressure here right there to see the buyers continue to outpace the sellers. You can see the green bar there. The buyers are definitely pressing, but we're not getting the result, man. We're not getting the results. What time is it? Oh, we got 1 minute left here for this 15-minute candle. Looks like they're gonna probably try to snap down one more time before the 15-minute candle opens. No W pattern confirmed yet. It's probably best to wait for this 15-minute candle to open up, because they will probably dip down first before it goes up. New 15-minute. Buyers are stepping in. They gotta not getting that move. Okay, they're testing 25 again. Rejected. Might be time to cut this thing if they don't freaking flip it up right now. Might be over here. It's getting real tight here in this area, so let's see. There's 25 again. And are they going to reject it again? Buyers are persistent here at this level, but they're not getting that result. Multiple attempts at these highs, and they can't do it. I'm probably going to come back and test 200 one more time. There's a big seller just came in. Let's see what happens with this seller. If this ends up being the catalyst for a lower price or a higher price. Okay, I'm out. I'll cut that one. So that was 2 attempts there trying to catch that long break of 25s. So stopped out both times. I think I'm going to call the stream here, guys. So, I mean, really it was just that one big trade at the open. Caught 500 something ticks. And took a scalp there on that short around 10:30. And then now just tried these 2 longs, didn't work out. And so we'll just wait for the what's price going to do here in this consolidation that we're currently stuck in between 200s and 25s. So it's trying to buy the continuation off the bottom band, and it can very well still happen. But what I'm going to do is just wait to see if we get an actual W pattern, and then from there I can just get in on that. But I'm going to call it here, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. If you're not already part of the team and you want to get access to the tools and all the new stuff that we have dropping here in the next couple days, check us out, dynastytradingsystems.com. It's going to be pretty epic. It's going to be next level stuff, guys. All right. You guys have a great rest of your session. You guys take care. Thanks for tuning in.